today we're really going to get into the nitty gritty about purpose and also a little bit about passion. Now, let's go to the next slide. All right, let's talk about purpose. Purpose isn't one thing. I think we tend to look for purpose in our life in this very big, grand, existential, what is my purpose and why am I here on this earth? And we've talked about this in a couple other classes, but purpose, it's a relationship. It's a relationship between what you pay attention to, what you feel pulled toward, and what you're willing to engage with consistently. Now, your attention, it has to do with your attention, your energy, and actions. And that makes sense, right, when we break it down in this really simplified way. But purpose comes in two different ways, too. We have big P, which is your really big purpose, right? Like, and that can feel very daunting that it's like I'm just floating around in life. I don't know what I'm doing. We've all had these major shifts sometimes where we get, these traumas happen and we're sort of on one road, and then this trauma happens, maybe loss of job, loss of apartment, loss of career, all these big changes can happen and our life gets restructured and like our purpose feels disrupted. But purpose can also come on a very micro level, little purpose, right? And that is, what is my purpose right now? And again, we can sometimes feel very lost in finding both the big P and the little p. And it's our relation to our life, to the things that we're doing, that we're looking for, what we want. And so we're going to talk through today how to really move through and find purpose also in those moments where we kind of feel untethered. I know for me, I can't speak for everybody in the room, obviously, but for me, I've been feeling like sometimes I have this purpose, and then all of a sudden, I feel like I don't. And I equate it to this idea of like I was so passionate about something, and all of a sudden it just shifted. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that too, what's happening. So let's define purpose a little further, right? Purpose is the direction you choose to organize your energy, attention, and actions around. So let's say your purpose, first thing in the morning, is to get your kids out the door, right? That is your purpose. It is not your big P of the day to be of service to children. But in that moment in the morning, it is to get the children out the door, right? Your direction. My direction is going toward my children, my engagement. What am I showing up for? I'm showing up for my children. And everything else outside of that gets put to the side. That is my purpose. That is my intention. I am aligning those things. And the meaning of why it matters is because I love my children and I want to set them up for success. Those are all going to be very different for each person, but it gives us direction, right? And when you feel that you have a purpose of something you're working toward, we feel very action oriented. And when we feel action oriented, it is this beautiful channeling of energy, right? We've talked about energy. When we feel guilt or worry or stress or fear, we tend to have not a lot of action potential. We feel very, you know, into our ego. We feel very crummy. We don't want to do a lot. And so we probably are feeling a lot of low purpose in those moments, right? But if we can shift that, what if even in these moments of feeling really low, that your purpose is to go inward, to heal it, to feel it, to really just be there in that moment and experience and listen to these parts of you that are coming up. That can be a purpose, and to heal it, to feel it. That is a purpose. It doesn't mean that that is your life's purpose, but it can be that purpose. So it's really lining up. But what happens is there's a really interesting thing when we're talking about purpose. We tend to think that purpose needs to be directly correlated with the idea of passion, right? We tend to think that purpose is this monumental, I am so deeply engaged. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm excited. All of that. And that's not necessarily true. I think this is where the conflicts usually come in, is that purpose does not have to have passion, and passion doesn't have to have purpose. So let's talk about purpose or passion for a moment. and how it relates to passion. Passion is an emotional pull towards something that feels engaging, interesting, or energizing. Okay. It usually has three components, right? Like interest. Is this of interest to me, right? We all have that passion. Maybe it's baseball, right? We're in baseball season now. Maybe it is helping others. Um, you'll find your interests. What are my interests? They're things that I like. I like reading, I like dogs, I like going for long walks, I like good communication, I like community. Those are your interests and they give you passion, right? Now there's also energy. I feel more alive when I do this, right? Those are the things that when you're doing them bring you joy. They make you happy. They shift your mood. They shift how you see the world. They shift everything within you and how you relate to the world, right? So it goes back to this relational idea of when I'm feeling passion, I can shift into this new mode. It does not necessarily have to have a purpose, right? Other than temporary joy and satisfaction. Now, passion can also come with a pull where it's like, I want to do this again. I enjoyed playing this card game so much, I'd like to do it again, to the point where it becomes a repetition and a pattern. But none of these guarantee that it will be consistent. Oh, excuse me. Right? So I think a lot of the time, what we're thinking when we're thinking of passion and purpose when they get tied together is that they're always going to live together in this finite world and rule. And it doesn't have to be like that. We can have purpose without having passion, and we can have passion without purpose. But purpose can exist, as I mentioned, but when they come together, that's when things feel really powerful. And it is such a joy when you find passion and purpose in your life. I know when I started my private practice, as many of I've told this story before, but as many of you have heard or know, I started hypnotherapy going I went back to school for hypnotherapy because I was an avid finger picker, like literally hamburger my friends called me hamburger hands. It was really gross. And it's not a cute nickname. I should have just told them that was offensive and really hurtful. But it was true. I did have really gross hands. But it wasn't until it was so mind-blowing that I was like, "Wow." And I ended up having a big life change where I left my consulting job in New York to move to Chicago with my ex. And it was in Chicago where I was asked really to look at my life to go, "What do I want next?" And it was scary because if anyone's like given up their job without having anything stable like in the pipeline and just like taking a chance to like try something new, it can be really unsettling until you find your purpose. And so I kept looking at all these different things. What do I want to do next? Do I want to go back to school for graphic design? Do I want to be a veterinary technician? I went through all of it. I can't tell you how I landed on hypnosis, but I reached out to my first hypnotherapist and was like, "How did you do this?" They directed me toward the school where I could take a free class. And I was like, why not? I have nothing to lose. If I love it, I continue and I pay for it. If I hate it, then fine. And it was with that, let me try it, where a passion was born, right? Something, it was so enjoyable that I wanted to engage with it again. And it wasn't until later when I started doing the schooling that it became my purpose. I wanted to help people. My purpose was that I was able to change something I didn't think I could change through this amazing modality. And I learned it and became a passion of mine. And it also became a purpose that I wanted to help people. And now I had a tool to do it that I was passionate about. And everything from that moment forward just became so easy. It became so intuitive. I could spend literally hours upon hours researching and studying. And it was like I had endless energy to do it. It was fascinating, right? And there's that energy component. It's like you find the energy. You don't have to find it, it's just there versus, oh man, I have to go study for my bio test, which is draining. I have to go do it, right? The energy is different around it. But your purpose is there if I have to go study for my bio like test. Versus is there a passion, right? And that passion is what fuels the endless energy to keep going. So that's where things get, and we're going to figure out like how we move into passion and purpose together. So, purpose without passion, this looks very common actually. It looks like, you're showing up consistently. Again, purpose can feel really good. And so I'm not saying that it is this bland walking through life just doing what needs to be done, but it's having an intention. Maybe that's another really nice way of framing it. It's feeling intentional in what you're doing, feeling very grounded and maybe focused. It has meaning for your life of maybe why you're doing it. It doesn't have to have major heart energy, but you're doing it, and but maybe you're not always excited about it, but you're like directional. And I think that's an important thing, right? This idea of direction. It's my purpose is taking me this way down this road. I'm doing something that matters in this moment. I'm taking action because we're action driven. That's who we are as humans. We want to produce, we want to accomplish, we want more. It's like the Adam, the the Garden of Eden. We always want more kind of thing. We always want what tempts us. And are we ever fully satisfied? Maybe not, but we always want to learn and grow. And so to have that passion is wonderful. Or sorry, purpose. So, it can feel very grounding. It can feel really stable, even to just have something to do. It keeps the mind on this other psychological level. It's keeping our minds engaged. And mental engagement is very important for the brain to stay stimulated, to be doing something, even if it is just relaxing with a book and to enjoy that. And that's how real things happen in our lives is through this purpose. Passion without purpose, what does that look like? Also very common. It looks like bursts of excitement. It looks like creativity. It's starting and stopping, right? Because again, if it's a passion, you might not want to make it your purpose, right? Maybe it's, you just love something so much, but it's like, I don't need to do this every single day. Like, I love crocheting, but I'm not going to make that my purpose in my life. It's just a passion. Now, if I decided that I wanted to make it my purpose and I wanted to knit certain hats and make a business out of it, now I'm doing it every day and I'm combining my passion and my purpose. And that's pretty exciting too. It's energizing, but it can be really inconsistent when you don't have purpose along with it, right? How many times have you picked up something that you just love doing and you're so passionate about, and then like you do it to the point where you're just like, I don't need to do this anymore. I got really into adult coloring books a while ago, and it was just like all the time, all the time. And then I got into puzzles, and again, it's really good to have these purpose or these passions, but it doesn't mean it has to be purpose. And again, stimulation, it's energy. It makes us feel like we're doing something with our time. We're not just waiting around to die, right? Because we're either growing or we are moving toward death, right? And we want to keep growing and learning and expanding and becoming our best selves. A lot of people come into my office and they're feeling really stuck, right? I really don't know what I want to be doing with my life. I know what I don't want to be doing with my life. And it's really hard because everyone's like, I feel like in order to start moving forward, I need to figure out what I want, right? And they wait for clarity. And I think that is a very scary word when you're trying to find purpose because clarity isn't always the first step. And we're going to talk about that. And it's really this idea of I have to find something meaningful that is holding you in the place where you don't necessarily want to be. Clarity, I just want to see, okay, right. Clarity is a tough thing because our mind wants certainty, it wants clarity, it wants alignment, it wants a lot of things in order to move forward because it's trying to be protective. And it doesn't want us to get hurt. It doesn't want us to waste our time. That fear is always going to come up. And we're going to feel that fear a lot when we're thinking about trying new things, right? But the interesting thing about purpose is that purpose can be sought after by trying new things, but purpose can actually find you when you're on the path of trying new things too. It's like, one thing leads to another. For example, I found hypnotherapy not because I was looking for a hypnotherapist. In fact, quite the opposite. I was out going to a nutritionist. And it wasn't until I tried something new. I had heard about going to a nutritionist to do a detox and blah blah blah. And it was at that time that someone suggested hypnosis for my finger picking, and that found me. I didn't go out looking for it. It found me, and it kind of was one of those things where I was like, "What do I have to lose other than some money?" Right? And it was when I tried it, something new, that all of a sudden, like a door opened up. But if I were waiting for the perfect time or like the perfect reason, or was it the right time to do hypnosis, or, again, there are reasons we choose to do things and choose not to. But sometimes when opportunity knocks, we need to open the door. And everything can be an opportunity, right? We learned about that energy in one of the classes from the original 12-week classes. That opportunist energy is that everything is happening for me. The question is, do I want to jump in and try it? And it's making the choice versus I have to, I need to, or I'm supposed to, or should. And so we want to give ourselves a place where we have opportunities to try something new. I mean, even if it's like committing to going to taking the dog for a walk and seeing what's outside, reading the signs. I saw so many new things today, and like I tried a new walk and I was like, wow, there's a new restaurant here. That would be really cool to try. And like your eyes just begin to open up, and that feels really nice. So if you commit to something meaningful, you give passion a place to grow, right? So if you just open yourself up to, right, call it a yes year, right? We all have heard about that. Like, just say yes, try it, see what happens. What do you have to lose? Jump in. You don't have to commit to it forever, but maybe it'll open a door, or maybe you'll meet a new friend. And I think that's the wonderful thing, is that when we walk down a path, we have the ability to change to a different path too. It doesn't have to be a finite, I have to do this forever. I think we tend to live in this world of like, I have to do this forever. The belief systems, even jobs, right? It's that idea of I have to stay for a year, or it's a bad, it'll look bad on my resume. And while that might be true, it also is, how is it hurting you in these other ways? So again, if we can open up meaning in our life, we can also find a place for passion to live. So, how do we find purpose? You don't find purpose in one big moment. Sometimes it can hit you right in the face, like you never know, but you build it through a series of small steps. So, one, notice where your attention already goes. Where, even if it's anxiety, like what is your mind thinking about? Where are you thinking you'd like to really be? Right? What is it that you constantly are thinking you want to do or not do? Look at these things, right? Purpose leaves clues for you, the little breadcrumbs, if you can find them. It's like, what do I keep thinking about? What do I keep coming back to? What feels unfinished? Like, are there any regrets that I keep going, man, I wish I had done that? You know, don't overthink it, just notice the patterns. See what comes up for you. What would you like to try? Are there things that, like, when you see them, you're like, oh, I'd love to try that. And then you hear this little voice in the back that's like, yeah, but maybe you shouldn't. That's okay too. But, like, where is it that your curiosity is starting to bubble and percolate? Step two, stop waiting for clarity, please. Clarity is not step one, as we mentioned, movement is, right? Sometimes I know I get into these like untethered, I don't know what I'm doing. And I sit there going, my anxiety rears its ugly head and it's like, oh, the kids have the day off. What should we do? And I'm sitting there going, well, I guess I could do this. But if I do this, then, what if there's no parking and da 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 da? And I overthink it. And I end up in this analysis paralysis and I end up in this fear cycle. And it's just move, right? If I just get the kids in the car, I've already done step one, right? I don't need to be clear on everything else. I'll figure it out, right? If there's no parking there, I will figure out what to do or I'll just leave. Again, it's getting movement. I don't have to have the whole plan clearly laid out step by step. Just pick something without knowing if it's right or wrong. But if it feels like something that you're curious about, it's the it's the excitement. Just go. Get up. Do it. Right? Don't sit there and wait. We tend to wait a lot when we're feeling untethered and unpurposed. It's very destabilizing, and it's just picking one thing, right? Choose the next right step. Indecision is what keeps people stuck, not lack of options. And indecisiveness is a really interesting thing because it brings us back and forth between this idea of what I should do what I'm want to do, right? I really want to do this, but I should do this. You are vacillating between the two. It doesn't matter what you pick. You just have to choose. Choose your purpose, choose your path, choose your intention, be intentional in that moment and go with it. Move, get up, move. Step three, choose one direction for now. Purpose requires a container, meaning like it needs your attention, it needs your focus, it needs your willingness to participate with it. Not forever, but just for now. And it's saying like you can't you can't eat an elephant all in one bite. It's such a gross just like thing, but it's so true. It's like you have to take it down bite by bite. Same with purpose. It requires us going step by step to go down the path. And as we go down the path, we're creating opportunity for purpose to come, for us to see what we like about it, not like about it. But you can't build purpose when you're scattered, right? You have to get focused. It's like, this is what I'm doing. Again, we come back to intentionality, but choosing one direction in that moment. Again, we can choose a different direction later. This comes down with decision making too, right? This idea of, I see so many people who are like, I want to leave my job. I want to stay with my job. I want to leave my boyfriend. I want to stay with my boyfriend. I want to leave my girlfriend. All of that. Pick right now in this moment, what do you choose? It's like you're either in or you're out. And only then can you decide which way, right? What comes next. You can change your mind. You're a human. You're allowed to. Life changes daily. So be flexible, flow. Don't hold yourself to these like standards of everything has to be just so. It's going to be tricky. Step four, make it actionable today. This is where it gets real. Ask, what is one thing I can do today that moves us forward, right? So I have been thinking a lot about, I have this um, machine that does compression therapy for lymphatic drainage and muscle recovery from what's left over from one of my spas. And I've been thinking so much about it, going, it's just sitting next to my bed. And it's this really expensive machine that I'm like, maybe I should start doing home visits with it for people or have people come to my office and do it. And it's very overwhelming to think about that because like fears come up, belief systems come up of what the traumas that I went through of owning a spa. And but there's something that keeps bringing me back to it. And so it's like, what's one thing I could do today? It's like, well, I could at least lay out like what it would look like. I don't have to commit to it, but I could just see how I feel after I lay it out. And I laid it out and I was like, actually, this feels really exciting. It feels really interesting. And that was cool. Right. So it's like do one thing and see how you feel about it. Move it forward, send a message, research something, outline an idea. ChatGPT, Claude, all of, Gemini, all of these AIs are out there. They make research so easy. I've always wondered why some dogs can watch TV and see things on the screen and others can't. I like looked that up the other day and it like made this whole crazy like thought process, it's awesome. Go learn something. And then maybe that'll open up a door for something else. If it's too big, if you're thinking too big too in your action, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Break it smaller. Step five, engage consistently. This is important. Purpose is built through repetition, not necessarily intensity. It does not have to be like you're staying up for all hours of the day, but it's built through repetition, showing up, returning to do it, staying in it long enough to learn something, to learn, does this really fuel me or not? Again, purpose takes consistency, right? Like a business is not built overnight. A relationship is not built overnight. You can't just like meet someone one day and go, we should get married. No, I mean, it does happen that way sometimes, same with purpose, but it's learning about you in relation to what it is you're doing. Do I like it? Do I want to be in a long-term commitment with it? If what you're going to get into purpose with, we're human, think about it. How do you want them to treat you? How do you want to be treated? Step six, let meaning develop after. Don't ask, why is this my purpose? Sometimes your purpose doesn't always make sense to you. If someone had told me that I was going to be a hypnotherapist or teaching on an astrology platform, I would have been like, no way. These things find you sometimes and they give meaning as you go through it. When I started teaching these classes, I didn't know where this was all going, but I just knew it was something that I'd like to explore. And this has been such an amazing experience. And again, it came through class after class. At first, I really didn't have many people in my class at all. And now, there's more and more people watching it and giving it meaning, right? This is just a class. I put it up, I talk. What happens afterwards is really where the magic comes from, is how it helps you guys. That is my passion, is to help others, to be of service. So that's how purpose reveals itself, and passion has these moments to matriculate into it. So this should say step 7. Clearly, I'm just a human. Adjust, don't abandon. Again, there might be times that you're going to know for certain it's time to let go of your passions and your purpose. I knew it was time to let go of my spa because I was waking up thinking maybe I'll get hit by a bus today. Not suicidal, but it was like that was my thought, that if I was hit by a bus, it would give me permission not to go to work. And that's crazy. It was a moment to really look at what in my life is not working with me that I would want to get hit by a bus. And it was like, oh, I really can't do this anymore. It's breaking my spirit, it's breaking my soul. The purpose, the passion's not there anymore. And my purpose to keep going is not, the drive's not there, the alignment, the interest, the desire. And so we adjust, right? There are times when, I wasn't ready to give it up or throw in the towel. And it was just looking at what wasn't working, right? If it's not clicking, tweak it. Ask yourself, what would make this more enjoyable? Is that possible? What would that look like to implement that, right? Don't immediately assume that something's wrong. Just see what you can shift and change for it. So I know that talking about this and laying it out makes it seem so simple, right? And it's not. It's certainly not, but I think there are a couple key things that I want you to take away. It's in these moments where we're feeling sort of untethered, where we're feeling lost. We're looking for a big purpose, and we maybe just want to like dial it into just making our purpose be much smaller in that moment of what we're doing. Don't worry about job purpose, because maybe that's really big. Like, what is my grand purpose right now? I'm in a huge career shift. We don't have to always make everything so big. We can also just make it workable. And like, what is my purpose right now? Break it down smaller, make it actionable. You don't need clarity, just try something. The next best step, the next best thing. So the hypnosis portion, as we get into it, hypnosis, as I mentioned to everybody, if you haven't done it before, it's very much like meditation, where we're going to relax the body and then we're going to relax the mind. And the goal for today, um, thanks, Corey. I think it's helpful too. I appreciate you saying that. Thanks. Um, our goal for today is to know that you can't do hypnosis wrong. Even a light state of hypnosis can be just as beneficial to a deep one, and that a deep one does not necessarily feel like you're having this out of body experience. Hypnosis is a very deep state of relaxation, so you'll feel a heaviness in your body. You might feel like a tingle in the fingers, and the mind gets very acutely focused, so it's very aware of everything that's happening. It's just that you don't have that chirping in the background of the conscious mind processing the information, being like, yeah, but you're still going to have thoughts run through your mind, but it's going to be much more like you're just hearing what I'm saying. The visuals sort of float through. Sometimes they're clear, sometimes they're not, but just allow yourself to enjoy this experience that's being made for you. Some of the suggestions are going to really resonate with you. Others might just float through, and you'll maybe wake up just coming out of the hypnotic state feeling nice and relaxed, and all the suggestions will matriculate over the next day, week, etc. So, but our goal today is to really get comfortable with this idea of sitting in change, sitting in curiosity, and opening the mind up to trying new things and being aware of what can come from those wonderful things, creating space for purpose and passion. So, without further ado, what I'm going to invite you to do is to get comfortable. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure that your back is against the chair and your feet are flat on the ground. You place your hands on your lap. If you're laying down, Please get comfortable, feel really supported. If your hands are linked like this, just put them one on top of the other versus linked like this. It can just sometimes cause a numbing out when they get relaxed. Um, and then what I'm going to invite each of you to do is to close your eyes. And I'd like you to take a nice cleansing breath. I like to start every session by just acknowledging this one truth. You've chosen to be here today. And right now, in this moment, there's nowhere you need to go. There's nowhere you need to be. And there's nobody wanting or needing anything from you. And that's a wonderful thing. Because when we know that we have permission to do something, we can engage in it fully. And so we're going to make it our purpose right now, that our purpose is to relax. And I'd like you to create this energy around you, just this space, that you're going to claim it as your own. This is my space. And what does space mean for you? I'd like you to think about that for a moment. What comes up immediately? That first reaction of space for me means we don't have to judge it, we can just be curious. And if you could own this space as your own, how would that feel? To know that nothing can come in that you don't want there, and everything you don't want there that might be in there, we can push out, right? So let's imagine it's like emptying a closet out. It's like, I want to take stress and put it to the side, take worry. Maybe there's a colleague that's bugging you at work or bugging you because they need your attention. You're just like, no, not right now. You can even see this twilighty expanse behind your eyelids. I love calling this the infinite expanse. It's where we can play around with this idea of space, this idea of nothingness, letting go of all the visual stimulations that you can hear. We can become aware of sounds, my voice. Can become aware how the word calm has a very relaxing hum to it. And if you were allowed to enjoy that calm vibration, I wonder what a vibration would look like as it moves through the body. Right? When we think about the word calm, you could maybe visualize a line moving up and down, gentle waves. And I wonder if you could imagine that wave moving from the top of your head calmly down to the tips of your toes. The same way each breath is like a calm wave that leaves the body. How calming it can be to allow your body to sink down. And because the body can sink down, because there's something underneath you supporting you completely, how heavy can you make your body feel? Can you feel it in your arms, letting them get twice as heavy now? Imagine if there was a switch inside your mind, an off switch, just like a light switch we could push. And as we turn it off, the same way that the electricity turns a light off, This switch can turn off the muscles in your body and allow you to know that in this moment, again, there's nowhere you need to go, nowhere you need to be, nobody wanting or needing anything from you. What a joy to just be. Now, the left arm and the right arm feel twice as heavy now. I'd like you to draw the attention to the shoulders. And I'd like you to think about the head getting heavy. All the knowledge and information that you have stored in your mind. How good it feels to allow your head to rest. Imagine all of those thoughts that we have that come, pop into the mind. They could be like bubbles that we blow away. We can think about those child bubbles, the way you blow them, how they create these tiny bubbles that float off into the distance. They glow, that rainbow sheen. And then they just pop. That our thoughts can be like bubbles right now. They can come in and we can just blow them away. These gentle breaths. And as they pop, they disappear. Because the mind is enjoying feeling the body sinking deeper and deeper and deeper down. And the purpose in this moment is to allow your body to know that its only purpose is to feel heavy. To feel heavy with calmness. That wave going down from the top of the head to the toes again. And letting it continue down and down. And it's as this last wave of calm moves through the tips of your toes that you feel your body and the stillness in it. And we connect to the stillness, this quiet environment, the quiet space around you. Now, I'd like to invite you to travel through the body right into the center of your forehead, the place where your mind's third eye is. And as you open your mind's third eye, I wonder what it would look like to see the world and everything around you as something to be learned or to be curious about, to be able to wonder and wander. But it's curiosity about things that can open pathways and neural pathways, that can open roads and channels of life. Our curiosity is a gift. And I wonder if inside of our mind we can find our inner child who wants to play, to invite them forward in our life, to see what they'd like to learn, to see what they're interested in or curious about. There's a great joy in allowing our inner child to play, to allow them to break free of the supposed tos, have tos, need tos. That childhood curiosity with the logic of the adult mind. It opens up a road forward because the adult you has permission to take this child and try new things. And I wonder, when your inner child is allowed permission from you, what you'll explore and find, what passions will ignite within you. The passion and fire of passion, the fuel to try new things, the simplicity of a purpose in the moment, the purpose of a curiosity. It's like finding a scent and wondering where it's coming from and following it. The world is waiting for you to discover beautiful things. And I wonder, when we open the mind to that, and we wrap it in safety, security, and comfort, how that will feel. To be fearless. Today we are planting a garden of seeds of opportunities. And we will tend to this garden and watch it grow. And as it grows, it will build passion and purpose and energy, alignment, grow into beautiful things. And even though there might be weeds in the garden at times, we can pull them out. You're building the garden of your life. And it's going to be beautiful. So sit in your garden. Know that you are in control today, to be curious, to be grateful, to have your inner child next to you, ready to explore. In this garden you can come back to anytime. Breathe in the air here as we come back into the present. Taking a nice deep cleansing breath and allowing your eyes to open.